Um, I remember at the combine that this guy was at, I believe that was in 2013. Deion Sanders was down on the field and he said, "Do not discount this young man, despite the way his college career ended. That not only is he special, he could be great in the NFL and have a long career." And a lot of people are like, okay, Deion. And joining us now, after a 12-season career in the National Football League that he just announced a retirement from, a Super Bowl champion, three-time first-team All-Pro, three-time Pro Bowler, and a member of the 2010s All-Decade team for the National Football League, one of our favorites, Tyrann Mathieu, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, Tyrann Mathieu. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Rich. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I know Marshall Faulk always told me, don't tell somebody congratulations after they've played a career because, there's still more to go. And I know you're one of those folks who has still more to write, more chapters to write. But I do want to offer you congratulations. Not a lot of people have a career like the one that you just finished, Tyrann. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are right now.
Well, thanks, Rich.
You're welcome.
That really means a lot to me. Honestly, man, the thing that I can really reflect back on or really point to is that, it was the coaches. It was the teammates I had, man. Like, I was so blessed. I was so fortunate. And I tell dudes all the time, it's like, when I came into the league, man, at 20 years old, right, with everything that I had kind of been through, Arizona was just such a great place for me to get drafted. Patrick Peterson was there. Larry Fitzgerald was there. Calais Campbell. The Dwight Freeneys and Darnell Dockett's, Carlos Dansby's, Rashad Johnson's, Gerard Powers. I mean, all these guys played 10 years plus, in the NFL. And what I respected the most about those guys was that professionalism, each and every day. And I think being a young guy, coming from where I come from and the experiences that I had, in the years before, to be around guys that just took it serious, right? Like, and, played great football. I talk about Larry all the time. And it's like, it was a blessing to be able to, have that experience, early on. And I really do feel like that really kind of set the stage for me to be, not just a really good football player, but, someone that, the community could be proud of, And so, I was definitely blessed, man, to say the least.
Was there a reputation you had to live out of, to get out of? Because obviously there's reputations that you just mentioned in that locker room that you joined that you'd have to live up to. But what about the way you were born into the league and the way things ended at LSU that you had to deal with as a kid now amongst men, Tyrann?
Yeah. I mean, for me, man, I always felt like I was a good leader, and but at times I don't think I was leading the right way. And I think what I went through at LSU was, I think it was reflective of that. So I think by the time I got to the NFL and, really got around guys that just as much, of a superstar they was also, a really good person, and so I wouldn't say like that it was much that I had to change. If not, it was just me believing in myself a little bit more, and, obviously part of it is, you being hard on yourself. I think that's gotten me a long way, but over the course of those years, man, you find yourself realizing that, the best way to love yourself is to give yourself some grace at times. And, I feel like I've given myself a little bit of grace, but, that's kind of been able to really help me, stay humble and stay reflective of, everything, that's happened, in the past.
Tyrann Mathieu here on the Rich Eisen Show. What was your welcome to the NFL moment, Tyrann?
I mean,
what was that? You got one?
I had a few of them. Playing against, Anquan Bolden, as a 21-year-old, and I think if anybody remember Anquan, I mean, he was just the symbol of a grown man. So that was tough at times. I think playing against Marshawn Lynch, I had a few moments, with him, but I'll probably
You mean
say.
like a business decision or two? Is that what you're saying with him?
Well, I wouldn't say it was a business decision.
Okay.
As much as I really think he kind of took it easy on me on that play because I was expecting him to kind of drop his shoulder on me,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't. But by the time I opened my eyes back up, he wasn't there. So,
Okay. Oh, that's Marshawn. But I'm sorry, you were about to say you're welcome. The NFL moment would be what?
I think back to my first NFL game, Rich, and we playing against the old St. Louis Rams. And we out there in St. Louis, and we kind of in like this 2-man coverage, and Jared Cook catches the ball. And, I mean, it's nothing in front of him but paint, and I'm kind of like on the left side, kind of behind him, behind the play, I should say. And by the time he got to the end zone, I had met him there, and I had got the football out. And I just remember making that play, Rich, and obviously going back to the sideline, right, and just kind of seeing the excitement of like Larry Fitzgerald and like Bruce Arians and just everybody that really believed in me, because obviously a few months before that, I mean these were all question marks. These were like all red flags, and I just remember that moment like so vividly, just coming to the sideline and like seeing everybody's excitement. Like, man, I knew it. Like, I knew he was gonna do that. Like, I knew he was a good player, right? And man, that fed me. That really did make me want to do more of it.
I love it, Tyrann. I love it. And you mentioned Arians. He was your first coach, right?
Yeah.
You had a stop in Houston. Bill O'Brien was the coach there, but Romeo Crennel, your DC. Then you go to Kansas City. You have Andy Reid. You go to New Orleans, right? You have Sean Payton on the very back end, right? I mean, you've been blessed with some serious HCs, Tyrann, in your days.
Rich. I tell people because people ask me, right, and I think my instincts and just awareness and really space awareness. I think it was all great, really throughout my career. But I'd be remiss if I don't, remind people that of the coaches that I've had and. Like how they empowered me and how they believed in me. And I think it all started with Bruce Arians and, Ty Bowles and Nick Rapone, Kevin Ross, like that whole staff really did empower me. And I felt like a great player. And, when I went to Houston, I think, Bill O'Brien was definitely, one of those coaches that encouraged me, that really did believe in my leadership and playmaking ability, and having been coached by Romeo Crennel, right? Like I mean, this guy he probably won so many Super Bowls he don't even have like any fingers left,
right.
So having that type of experience, man, meant the world to me, and man, I don't think enough can be said about Coach Reed and Coach Spags, man, and what they provided me and what they allowed me to do, and how they let me, represent their team and their scheme. I think I was the face of it, for a few years, and that meant the world to me. And I think to be able to come back home and play for the Saints, and even beyond the field, right? Like when I think of the Saints, Rich, I think of not just football. I think of like community. I think of Hurricane Katrina. I think the impact that organization had on, my city, my state for so long, man. Like they've always been like a pillar in our community. And I think being able to represent, that football team, man, that really did was like the icing on the cake for me, as far as like this professional, journey that I've been on.
And for you to hang it up after playing 3 seasons in your hometown for the hometown team, for the hometown crowd, in front of people, I'm sure that you go way back with like a car seat. I mean, that's the dream come true. That's what you're looking for. But before we get into that a little bit more, though, the Super Bowl season that you had with the Chiefs? What did that mean to you? What do you when you're going to look back? That's what people who retire say. I'll deal with it when I look back. Now you're looking back, Tyrann. That season in the ring that's potentially somewhere in that room or that house that you're zooming in from right now. What does that ring mean to you, Tyrann?
Man, it means the world to me. I think, it really is a symbol of, the work that really that's required. And I remember coming into the team, obviously in that off season, and I remember going through camp and getting through the season, right? And for a while there, in between that season, we wasn't playing like a championship team, a championship defense, and I just remember, man, Coach Spags like just keeping us together, and week by week you just try to get better, and after a while, Rich, everything just kind of started to go our way. We began to feel ourselves, and I think a lot of that is credited to hard work, patience, and then coaching too. Yeah, man, I think being able to be a champion is the reason why you play.
Exactly
It's to
right.
see those type of it's to see those type of the look on people's faces, man. From the janitors to the cafeteria workers, like it really takes everybody. And that was like a special group of guys, man. I'll remember that, probably the rest of my life for sure.
Well, you should. And then you went for the back-to-back the next year, and standing in your way was Tom Brady, quite literally.
Yeah.
At one point, Tyrann.
Yeah.
This moment in time, Tyrann Mathieu, I think stands the test of time. If I were you, I'd have this photograph printed out in that office or whatever. I'd get Brady to sign it. I'd be telling my kids about it, my grandkids about it.
Yeah.
What was going on in that moment?
I mean,
Tyrann?
that was probably one of the most intense games I've ever played in. And I'm such a big fan of Tom, and me and him have had a pretty good relationship, really over the years, and just being able to play against each other, really the amount of times that we did. And I just remember playing in that game, Rich, and I'm saying to myself, man, because you got to remember too, Rich, like that's all my old coaches over there.
That's right.
Right. And I mean, man, like it's like they did their scouting report on me. Right. Like it was like play after play. Like we got to get into Tyrann Mathieu's head. Like, and that's what I felt, but man, like that's the level of championship. Man, it goes far beyond the fields, man. You try to win the war, in people's minds. You know what I mean? And I thought Tampa Bay played well that day, obviously. But yeah, man, they did their scouting report on me, Rich. I think Bruce Arians and all them kind of I think my weaknesses was definitely shared, before that game, because they was on me. They was on me that day.
Could you read the transcript of this conversation in front of a family audience, Tyrann?
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think this play right here is, I want to say we was talking about, I think it was going to fourth down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was telling Tom to get off the field, and Tom was like, no. Nah, and, so yeah, like that was an intense stare off for sure.
I bet an intense stare off. Tyrann Mathieu. What a great way to capture that or caption that photograph. Before I let you go, why'd you decide to retire? What went through that?
Oh man, I think being healthy, Rich, being healthy. I think being in a great space mentally and emotionally, I think it gives you the opportunity to, really do what you want to do, with your life. And I think football has really, played such a big role in my life. I'll always see myself a part of the game, really, in one way or another, whether I'm coaching or, doing something else. But, I think, man, it gets, I think the older I've gotten, man, it just gets harder and harder to lead the kids, man. And, you want to be there and experience life with them. I feel like they've experienced so much of my life, right? And I haven't experienced nearly as much of their life as I would like. And so I just feel like it's just a good opportunity for me. I've done it all. I've seen it all. I've made some great, great, lasting, relationships. And I think I'm happy. I'm happy. I think I'm content with, the way my career, played out, and all the challenges I had and the injuries and just everything I kind of dealt with early on to be able to kind of overcome that and still reach like all of my highest goals and dreams. It's been a blessing. I don't think this is not a sad day for me. I'm extremely excited. I'm really looking forward to life's next challenge, and really hoping that whatever it is I do, I can do it well, and I can be happy doing it.
Well, you know the way I feel about you, and I don't mind saying it, all the time. And once again, you're an inspiration, Tyrann, because so many people in this world gain a reputation or have a headline written about them. They have a chapter written about them, and then we're judging that book by a cover. And so many people can't get through that, or they always have a chip about their shoulder, and then it becomes somewhat embittered. And you've had a 12-year career, Pro Bowls, All-Pros, Super Bowl ring. Your community work might be the best thing you've ever done on top of all of that. And you've proved so many people wrong, but you don't wear that on your sleeve. It really is inspiring, Tyrann, and I could not go another day after hearing about your retirement to get you on here and tell you that in front of everybody. Truly. It's awesome. Congrats.
Thanks, Rich. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it. Really, really does mean a lot to me. Really does.
I appreciate you saying that. So congrats going. I don't want to take you away from any kid time. How old are your kids? How old are they?
12, 11, 5, 1.
Okay.
And then I just had a baby girl probably like a week ago.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
My dream team.
The dream
My dream team.
Let's go.
Well, congratulations to you and your family. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
And let's do this more often. Anything you want to talk about, anything that's on your mind, any platform you're looking for, you've always got a spot with me. You know that.
Thanks, Rich. I appreciate you, man.
You got it. You bet. That's Tyrann Mathieu, everybody, after a stellar 12-year career right here on the Rich Eisen Show. That was just
awesome.
Awesome.
Love that, dude.
One of my favorites. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.